Hello, welcome, I'm Scrumpy. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be our first episode of a new Let's Play on Crusader Kings. Crusader Kings is a fantastic game by Paradox, and it's a game which is really all about intrigue and stories and characters. So you don't really play as a state, but rather you play as a character, a family, a dynasty. So if you like Game of Thrones, then CK2 is a game you're going to love. We're going to be Earl Alfred of Dorset, hopefully one day become King Alfred the Great. And I'm going to take you a little bit through the historical context before we really get kicking into the game. But as I said before, if you kind of like the idea of combining sort of hard power military elements like you would have in Civilization or Hearts of Iron or EU4 or Victoria 2, with a bunch of extra stuff around characters. So think like intrigue, think murder, seduction, plotting, and kind of persuading, carousing, influencing people. And that's your kind of thing. It certainly is my kind of thing. If you like Game of Thrones, this is going to be right up your street. There is also a great mod for Crusader Kings 2, which turns it into Game of Thrones. So back to this particular playthrough. I'm starting as Earl Alfred of Dorset. This character in 867 is, despite the fact that I'm bald by the looks of it, I'm not sure if that's historically correct, this is the character that went on to become King Alfred the Great. And although he didn't see the unification of England in his time, it was really his concept to unify England as an Anglo-Saxon nation and to basically kick the Norse invaders out. I think that occurred in 927. Alfred died in 899, but it was his baby, even if ultimately it was somebody else from his dynasty that sort of saw it happen. Now, in 867, and the reason we're playing this game and the reason it's going to be so much fun is because the Norse were, so think Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, they are invading what is today England. They're invading the Anglo-Saxon areas. And England at the time was not England as a kingdom, but rather it was made up of different sort of petty kingdoms: Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria, East Anglia. And the Norse intend to pick them off sort of one by one and ultimately to completely conquer what is today England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales, to form a Norse United Kingdom, if that's the right expression for it. And throughout this game we're going to be trying to go up against the Norse, who are going to be trying to conquer us. They hold all of the military advantage. They have lots of things going for them. As an example, at the start of the game, the two main characters, King Halfdan Whiteshirt of Jorvik, who has 14,500, and his half-brother, King Ivor the Boneless, who has 9,500 troops. They're 21,500 troops or so, maybe a few more than that. It's about 22.5. Completely outmatched by about 3-1 the troops available within the Anglo-Saxon realms. So this early war that is already, it was going to start the minute we set the timer going, is almost certainly going to be won by the Norse. So it's about how do we pick ourselves back up, how do we protect ourselves from relentless Viking raids on our coastline, and from invasions from not just the Norse already in the UK, as it is today, but also there will be further invasions coming from Denmark, Sweden, Norway regions. We've got it all to do. We're going to use intrigue, plots, and all sorts of mischief to try and turn the tide and ultimately drive the Norse out of England. So that provides a bit of an overview of the historical context. What I want to do now is get into the game and start getting on with some of the things that we have to do at the start of a game of CK2. First thing that's always worth doing is just checking the status of what are called vassals. In my particular case, because I'm an Earl, it's my mayors and my bishops. I've got 2 mayors, Ilchester, Dorchester, within Somerset and Dorset, and 2 bishops. The green status on the opinion said it looks good, so they're basically liking me. They're all paying tax because it's green, and the bishops like me more than they like the Pope, which means they're paying me tax. Hooray! So our vassal status is pretty good. In terms of our character and our dynasty, we are of Wessex. We have in our family a half-brother who is my liege, who is King Alfred of Wessex, and we have a half-sister who is the spouse of the petty King of Mercia. Other than my half-brother, my half-sister and myself, there is nobody else left alive within our dynasty. We are the last of our dynasty. If we die and we don't have children, it's game over. And interestingly, because the Wessex succession law is agnatic, if neither my half-brother or I have sons, it's game over then too. Or perhaps more specifically, if we could have daughters who might have sons, but we've got to have a male heir somewhere within our dynasty, otherwise it's game over. So my half-brother, who is a critical character in the game, I am his heir because he has no sons. My half-brother is an idiot, frankly. His attributes are terrible. His stats, and his traits, greedy, envious, shy, compared to mine, which are brilliant strategist, quick, honest, just, gregarious, diligent, and the numerics around my character, I am so much better than he is, to be blunt. Now, what I love about CK2 is that, very much like history probably would have been, you can get up to all sorts of shenanigans. And whilst our history that we know tells us that Alfred's half-brother died a natural death, and so King Alfred, our character, inherited the realm, we haven't got a clue whether that's actually true. What we believe is that King Alfred was a great man of education and literature. He translated many Latin texts into Old English, and he helped get what is modern English legal system up and running, which was a huge triumph, one of the reasons why he's known as Alfred the Great. But I suspect he probably also had a great influence on shaping history. So for all we know, he kind of might have pushed his own half-brother off of a cliff and then wrote a different story. From what I can see in terms of CK2, the best chance of the Anglo-Saxon realm of surviving against the Norse is if my half-brother dies, and dies soon before he has a son, so that I can inherit, take on Wessex, and really start to take the fight to the Norse. So I'm going to right-click on my half-brother, and I'm going to look at the plot power, more than 100%, which means we've got a good chance of it firing and him dying. And I'm going to click on it. I've decided that my half-brother has got to die. I'm going to click the little box that says auto invite plotters, and we've got a really good chance here of killing my half-brother. That sounds awful, doesn't it? I'm sorry, darling half-brother, but I'm bald and I'm envious of you, even though I'm a lovely person, and it's in the interest of the realm that you die, and at the end of the day, it's the realm that matters, as well as family. Whoops. When I click the timer running, Jorvik is going to fill with 22,000 troops, and all of these other Anglo-Saxon realms are going to raise their levies, and the fight's going to get going. And because I am the best martial man in the realm, my brother, my darling half-brother, is going to try and put me in the driving seat. He's going to try to make me lead his armies because I'm the best martial man in the realm. Why wouldn't he? The trouble is that when he does that, he's an idiot and he has a much smaller army than the Norse, and he's going to try and fight them anyway, and he's going to lose. And there's every chance, if I'm in that army, that I'm going to be killed, or that I'm going to become maimed, or that because I'm going to be hopelessly outnumbered, I'm going to be mentally scarred from the fighting, and I may become craven, I may become a coward. Whilst history probably likes to tell us that King Alfred bravely led troops on behalf of his brother, I'm going to tick this box up here that says I'm currently forbidden to lead armies, and hope that that forbids my brother from using me in his fighting. I'm going to have some kind of cold bug or something, and I just can't come and help you, darling brother. I don't want him to kill me. I want to kill him. It's in the interest of the realm. We need to get married because we need to have a son. It's one of the things the box is telling us up here, so let's click on that. Goodness, all of the women available here are terrible, with the exception of these top two. Princess of Navarre, Princess of West Francia. There are plenty of princesses of West Francia. Goodness me. West Francia is a Catholic realm here in modern, what's today known as France. They're going to be fighting Norse in Brittany and fighting Norse on their shores. They're going to be a great ally. If we were to marry into their family, there's a good chance, well, we get a non-aggression pact, we may also get an alliance. And House Carling has got astonishing levels of prestige. 1,125. They've got a truly huge family. Beautiful. What a beautiful dynasty. Of Wessex is much smaller. Our prestige is 125. So we're going to get a bucket load of prestige for marrying into House Carling. So I'm going to right click on this 16-year-old princess as an 18-year-old red-blooded male. It certainly could be worse. She's Midas touched as well. Great steward. Fantastic. So we're going to gain 222 prestige from marrying into House Carling and for marrying the relative of a king. Patrilineal because we want our children to be of Wessex. Good. We need to pick the ambition to become married and bank that 10 piety as soon as we get married, which we will imminently. As a reminder, score, which is one of the things that one of the ways you can play the game is to try and get a high score, is a function of piety and prestige, which both also serve as currencies to do certain actions within the game, as does wealth. Wealth is a form of currency in the game to do things. Score is made up of prestige and piety. Right. We need to pick a character focus. Now, war I'm not going to bother with because I'm going to try and stay out of wars. Whatever we pick, we're going to be stuck with for 5 years. I'm not too fussed about war because I don't think we're going to be influential in the wars in the first 5 years. Neither hunting. The ones that I think could be relevant, well, family could be relevant. We want to have a son, but I don't think we're going to have a problem having children. Hopefully not anyway. Touch wood. Because we're 18 and our wife is going to be 16. I don't think I need to go down a seduction route at this point, although it will be a lot of fun to do it at some other time. Intrigue could be helpful in killing our brother. But I think a more effective way of getting him killed is actually, and having a positive effect longer term, is to do something called carousing, which is we can invite all of the different men from the realm, so including my brother's vassals and courtiers, to parties at my house, basically, and my own vassals and courtiers. And when we do that, we can raise their opinion of us. Equally, if we manage to get our brother to come to the party, we may get an opportunity to smother him with a pillow, push him off a balcony, or hit him over the back of the head with a saucepan, whatever it is. If we manage to convince one of his vassals or courtiers to become our best mate, they will almost certainly join us in our plot to try and kill my half-brother. And that would be a massive boost to our plot power. So I'm going to pick carousing. Also, raising opinion with these guys will help us when we become their liege anyway. So we're going to select carousing. That's that done. We need to check our council. Our councillors, we've got scores 13, 12, 11, 11, 7. Court chaplain is terrible, but he's one of our bishops. The steward is not the best, but he's one of our bishops. Could look to replace both of them. Quite possibly I'd make the current steward the new court chaplain and get rid of the court chaplain and get a new steward in. But it's going to cost 15 gold a time, because I doubt people are going to join our court without us paying them. And my 3 priorities at the moment, in order of importance, will be Spy Master, because that's not a great score, and we really need a good Spy Master to try and kill my half-brother. Again, diplomacy to try and raise, get my state diplomacy high, to try and raise opinion of these other vassals so that they might help me in my plot. And martial's always a great thing to have. Stewardship's a really important thing too, but because this person's my bishop and firing him from my council will upset him, I think I'll probably hold back from that. Depends a bit on what's available. So search anywhere for men, not in prison. I've not got the equality setting on, so I've got historical settings, so I haven't got gender equality selected, which means I'm looking for men because it was men to go on the council, with the possible exception of your wife can maybe be spy master. Diplomatic range, yes. My religion group. So we've got a guy called Fortunato. Okay, he is... Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, so Adalbert's good. Fortunato is good. And actually Fortunato's got some extra special qualities about him. He is gregarious, and so am I. So we're going to get on slightly better than we would perhaps with Adalbert. Adalbert is younger. That's a tough call. That's a tough choice. Spy Masters never have particularly nice traits, and we are not going to get on terribly well inherently because I've got nice attributes as Earl Alfred of Dorset. Quick, honest, just, gregarious, diligent. Spy Masters typically tend to be nasty pieces of work. So we're going to struggle to get along. I'm going to be giving them gold to keep them liking me. This guy will probably get on slightly better with than the other guy, but the other guy is older. They're both Catholic. I'm going to take Fortunato. Oh no, he's deceitful and I'm honest. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I'm going to go for Fortunato. Let's send him a gift. Oh, his opinion will improve by 46 for 15 gold. His approval is going to increase by 76 for 15 gold. We're going to go for Adalbert. Plot to kill. Don't want to plot to kill, I want to invite to court. Whoops. Diplomacy, we've got a 21 score that will join us. Excellent. Marshal, we've got a 22 score. Excellent. Steward, we've got a 19, which is very good, but I want to keep it with my bishop, I think. So let's get this. Yeah, let's get this guy in. I've only got enough gold to do one more after this. So we'll go for the marshalman. Guilhem. Now, when I go to intrigue and look at my brother, there are a lot of people that I could give gold to, like this 97% plot power, right? Spy Master of Wessex. I could pay him. I could have paid him, except for I run out of money, to join our plot, and it might even have taken its 200%, and maybe I should have done that. The trouble is, as soon as I start the timer, he will be, my half-brother will be defending against pagans, and that will give him a big modifier, big positive modifier in opinion, with everyone in his court and all of, sorry about that, and all of his vassals. So I suspect, although it looks like he'll join now for some money, he probably won't as soon as I press the timer. My council members are all idle. I've got to assign them. I'm not going to assign them until we get the new council members in. As soon as I press the timer, we're going to be at war. The 2 war scores are down here. I think I've covered it already, but just in case, Jorvik, King Half Down White Shirt, is fighting at 4. He's claiming Northumbria, which is currently Anglo-Saxon, and his half brother Ivor the Boneless is claiming East Anglia, and he's also helping his brother in the fight for Northumbria. So that's the first big skirmish that's going to happen. That'll be in episode 2. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to the next episode. Yeah, well, bye for now, everybody.